What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's another episode of the Countdown City Geekcast. My name is Teddy. Joining me on this episode is the man behind the magic, you know him as Joe Garcia.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm hanging in there, man. I'm not feeling 100, but I'm here.
Fantastic. You're looking well, sir. I know that you've been busy for the last few weeks, and I know you're a little under the weather, but you're looking fantastic, sir. It's great to see you again. And last but definitely not least, my partner in crime from the Ghostbusters of San Antonio. It's one only Matty B. What's going on, sir? Pop that tab.
Let's
Pop
get
that
into it.
tab. This is going to be a fantastic episode. Of course, everybody is reeling from the Kenobi series finale, and we're going to just talk about it all night long. So many ups and downs, so many great moments, so many iffy moments. Did our predictions pan out? We're going to get all into that, and we want to hear from you guys. So let us know what your thoughts were on the Kenobi finale. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, or you can always send us a message on Facebook by clicking that send message button, or email us on the contact page of our website at www.countdowncitygeekcast.com if you're watching this at a later time, or if you're listening to the podcast. All right, fantastic. And we will read from the chat as your thoughts come in, and we'll let a few folks get in here right away. But, gentlemen, we're going to start this episode how we start every episode regarding the Kenobi, and we're going to go over the summary. You boys ready?
Here we go.
Here we
Yes,
go.
sir.
In 3, 2, 1. Reva heads to Tatooine to find Uncle Owen. Upon entering their home, she is fired upon. Luke escapes the dwelling and Reva takes chase. Luke is unconscious while Reva has an opportunity to strike him down. Her memories of evil Anakin now haunt her and won't allow her to become as he once was. Vader is in pursuit of Kenobi and Leia. With time running out and the ship taking damage, Kenobi wants to run and distract Vader from Leia and the others. The final confrontation commences. A mighty duel between the two results in Kenobi being buried by rocks and debris, but the Force is strong with him, and he force pushes his way out of the rubble. Kenobi displays his full strength by pummeling Vader with boulders, then slicing through his helmet, exposing half of Vader's face. Then my friend is truly dead, says Kenobi. Goodbye, Darth. Just before leaving Vader on the planet, Kenobi consoles Reva as she tosses her saber aside back on Tatooine. Near the end of the episode, finally, the Emperor. Vader speaks to Darth Sidious and declares he won't end his hunt for Kenobi. Leia returns home and is later greeted by Kenobi and Lola, her droid. The two of them embrace, and Kenobi flies off to Tatooine, where he leaves his cave due to his new Jedi outlook and meets with young Luke for the first time in years. Kenobi is then greeted by Master Qui-Gon just as credits roll. All right, gentlemen. Let's get into it. Matt, you've sort of been talking about this with us for quite some time now, so I want to get your just overall consensus. What were your feelings after watching the episode? What were your emotions going through it?
Were they reckless with canon? Yes. Was every
Ooh,
episode
okay.
perfect? No. But they wrapped it in a nice little bow for me.
All
The
right.
finale sort of rounded out some of these characters, and I think it was good. I liked it.
Well said, well said. Joe, we've not heard from you in quite some time because you've been so busy with the family and vacations and everything else. So please, man, not only let me know what you thought about this episode in general, your overall feelings about it, but the series. Did the series pan out the way you thought it would? Did it meet your expectations? Or what else would you like to say about it?
No, last episode, episode 6, I thought it was a good little bow. Like Maddie said on the series, kind of leaves the door open to maybe something is going to continue. Maybe they'll have a second season, as the rumors have stated, because we didn't really
Ooh.
get to see a lot about what's going on with Luke. So maybe they'll kind of revisit that in season two if they do in fact have one. Now, the overall thoughts on the series as a whole, I think it did a decent enough job as kind of exploring the lore behind these characters, especially like Obi-Wan, Anakin as Darth Vader, and the one thing that if I have to pick, and have a little gripe about is I didn't care much for Reva, third sister. I thought that was kind of a waste in a sense. Didn't really care for her, I mean, there's nothing against the actress herself, but I just didn't care for the character as a whole. I think the series would have been even better if it was done as a cinematic movie, if it was done
as a film.
as a
You yeah,
film, I
you
think
mentioned that before.
it would have been a really good film, if they had just put it up as a film. I think it could have been, up there with like Rogue One, where people would have really appreciated and really uh had an affinity for the characters, and especially experiencing this in a theater setting with other fans that love the series or love, Star Wars as much as the next guy. These moments would have been even better, seeing Anakin again or Darth Vader up there on the screen going against Obi-Wan Kenobi, that those would have been dropping moments to
Yeah.
experience with a group of people, and I think they kind of missed the boat on that regard. But overall, the series as a whole was great. Everybody got to still experience, this series, and I'm sure everybody loved it. And yeah, was it perfect? No, it wasn't perfect all the way, but it was damn near perfect. I mean, there was just little things here and there, but it was a good run overall. I mean, to me, it was leaps and bounds of better than the Book of Boba, which was a hot
Yeah.
mess in my opinion, but Obi-Wan really,
There it
really
is.
delivered. High quality too. I really loved all the effects, the little nuances that they had in this series, to the graininess and the grittiness of the first episode, trying to make it look more old school, a lot of attention to detail. You can tell that this was a labor of love, and they delivered. I liked it. Overall, I have to say it's probably one of my favorites.
Very nice, very nice, very well said. It might definitely have been good as a film. I think the idea behind it wasn't maybe as grand enough, if that's a weird way of putting it. Probably, I think the idea could have been better. I think the story itself could have been bigger. It could have been a larger story. Maybe he's not necessarily dealing with the empire, which yes, they are around, but so many times you felt like the writers were held down by canon, by sticking to what we know is going to happen in the original trilogy. So I think if you kind of went off, had Kenobi do a separate story, didn't involve the Empire, whatever it may have been, I think it would have been sort of more interesting to see him do something new, something unexpected, much like the Mandalorian. He's going off protecting this youngling of a Yoda species, very unexpected, and we're able to explore the Mandalorians and everything else. I'm not saying that because the series was bad. I really enjoyed it. I think that it's very nostalgia driven, and that's not a bad thing. Ewan McGregor back as Kenobi is fantastic. Um, Seeing Hayden Christensen both as young, oldish Anakin with wrinkles, as well as seeing this new Vader and this new profile of Vader that we're all going to have ingrained in our skulls, I think was also very interesting. The last fight, the last episode, the finale, I loved almost everything about it. I thought it was fantastic. I hear what you're saying about Riva, and I think that's kind of a lot of things that people are saying. I don't think the character was a waste. I just think her final motivations are a little are too much of a stretch for me. It's like he killed your friend, so now you're gonna kill the child that Vader doesn't know he has. Like, is that really gonna be impacting him at all? Maybe it does. Maybe he finds out later on, but it's still a stretch. What if he never finds out? What if Reva dies of her wounds? Which again, that's also a stretch. Like she's been able to travel between planets while she was impaled by Lord Vader.
Dude,
Like,
if Reva was alive, why couldn't Qui-Gon live?
right? That's a very good question. Legacy of Nerd. is here on YouTube. He says, I have to say, I'm glad we got a series rather than a movie. We got more side adventures and fleshed out some characters. I agree. I think we had that time to kind of expand on those things. Um, it's almost like I wanted more Kenobi in the Kenobi show. I think there may have been too many characters. That's not to say that they took up too much time. These episodes were also kind of short, right?
Riva took up a lot of time.
She kind of did, but I also think the episodes were just kind of short in general. Half these episodes should have been another 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Seen more emotion from McGregor, from Kenobi, especially after episode 2, or no, after episode 3, when he gets his butt handed to him by Vader. I really wanted to see him like really sort of in his emotions about, fighting Anakin for the first time in years, and we kind of didn't get that. He was very quick to sort of, get on the search for Leia, and so more of that would have been good if we could have explored sort of more of Kenobi's emotions after fighting Anakin the first time. Let's see here. Matt, we talked a little bit off camera about sort of our favorite moments of this episode. What was your favorite moment in this finale?
Well, yeah. Well, first off, shout out to the Legacy of Nerd, who was one of our first followers on TikTok. So, big shout out to the Legacy of Nerd there. I don't know if you guys know each other or what, but he was one of the first guys to hop on. So, big shout out to you. My favorite part of the series, I would say, um, was definitely that emotional scene between Anakin and Vader. I thought they handled it well. It went the way that I knew it had to. Obi-Wan had to step up, go on the offensive, and win that battle. And to do that, he had to be aggressive, but also then showed the other strong suit of Obi-Wan, his empathy and how he was talking with Anakin at the end. Um, I thought that was certainly the best part, and what we could have spent more time on for sure. There could have been more Obi-Wan in the Obi-Wan show, but when you're writing it, the more you mess with Obi-Wan and characters like Vader and certain very close to canon characters, the more likelihood it is you step off of canon. So they needed a character like Riva to sort of step in because they could write freely with her a little bit. And there's only so many things that you're going to be able to do with Obi-Wan and Vader. And the last episode kind of, I think most things made sense other than Obi-Wan not killing Riva because she knows where Luke is, but whatever.
Ooh,
We'll
yeah.
get to that later.
We got to tie up loose ends here. So yeah, you got to go, Riva.
Yeah.
Joe, what's your favorite moment from this finale episode?
I'd have to say I like the fight scene, with Anakin or with Darth Vader and Kenobi. I mean, you're seeing an overpowered Vader in his prime, and how powerful he was in the Force.
Yeah.
And you see Obi-Wan having to kind of up his game in order to really defeat Darth Vader. And the reason that I think he was able to do that is what was holding back Obi-Wan this whole time was just him and his guilt of feeling that remorse of I created or Darth Vader, but Anakin really, I think, just put it bluntly, it wasn't Kenobi who created Darth Vader. It was Anakin. He's like, I destroyed Anakin. I killed him. You didn't.
I killed
This is who I am now. So I think that really kind of gave Obi-Wan closure and kind of made him see things in a different way. So I like that arc coming to an end and the way that it unfolded. The other thing I liked is I like the interactions that Obi-Wan had with Baru,
Yeah.
Owen, and and being able to say hi to Luke. I thought that was cool, and even the nice little touch how he says hello there, just like he does, and A New Hope. So all those were cool little nuances that fans are going to pick up on. Even at the very end, everybody's getting teary eyed with Qui-Gon finally appearing and making his debut, which was always a nice touch. I think everybody had suspected he was going to show up sooner or later. So it was cool to see him finally on the screen as a Force ghost, because there was a lot of speculation being that, since he was the first one, and in the way that he was, I guess the way that he perished and whatnot, not learning the full extent of, life after death, that he wasn't going to be able to be a full body apparition of a Force ghost. But he dispelled that, and he was there in all his glory, so it
We're
was
the
really cool to
Ghostbusters
see.
in this galaxy.
Exactly. So it was cool to see Qui-Gon interact with Obi-Wan. And just even seeing the interactions with Leia and you know the Organas, and all that. I thought that was cool. Put a nice little bow on that as well. With him and Leia, and her saying, "Oh, am I ever going to see you again?" And then he's telling her about her parents too, which is going to pull at your heartstrings a little bit. And he was telling her, all the things that she got from both her mom and her father, and how she's a really strong, independent, fearless, young woman, young little girl at this point. And I thought even the holster was a nice touch. You get to see her wearing that, and putting Lola inside the little holster. So little Leia's a badass, dude. It was cool to see how strong she was even as a child. She was meant to be a leader. So I liked all that. It was we got a little bit more out of it, but for the most part, it was a really great episode. I thought it was the best episode of the whole series. So I really enjoyed it. And I thought the contrast too during the fight scene with Vader and Obi-Wan was something that fans would really appreciate. You get to see the contrast between the blue and the red saber, and you see a little bit of Anakin come out, and you see more of the blue color when he's talking with Obi-Wan, and then when he's just full on Darth Vader, he's just, that glow of the red sabers just engulfing him, and you can see part of his face. Was a very powerful moment in this episode, which again, I thought I loved the way they used that contrast with the lighting and all that. Was really great, really great.
I think, yeah, this is also the best episode of the series. It gave you a lot of the things that you were asking for. All the fans across the board. And then my favorite part of the episode, it's got to be Kenobi kind of showing his full strength within the
Yeah.
Force. I mean, we always knew, being trained by Qui-Gon and being around Mace Windu and guys like Yoda, that he's a very formidable opponent. He's taken down guys like Grievous in his past. But yeah, actually seeing him, break out of this hole that Vader created, also a very cool thing that they did, showing a different sort of attack of the Force in live action, creating this like gaping hole that Kenobi was swallowed up in. And then once he piled everything on him, I was just like, ooh, they're gonna have to really really up the ante to get him out of this thing. And he's basically holding almost like a safe spot in this rubble, and he's able to just force blast his way out and take the fight to Vader. I really didn't think. And look, when we talked yesterday, me and Matt, we talked about our predictions again for the second time. I thought, I feel like Kenobi defeating Vader is not going to be like a very satisfactory sort of ending. I need Vader, and Vader can't defeat Kenobi because that's not going to really go anywhere. How does Vader go away and not search for Kenobi after this? I was trying to figure out a way where there'd be a scenario where Vader wouldn't want or wouldn't think to search for Kenobi anymore. But alas, they were like, no, 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 this is the Kenobi series. We got to make him, show his full strength and everything. So seeing Kenobi throwing the boulders, doing all that, the saber work, it was fantastic. Going after the center sort of gadgetry on Vader's suit, slicing open his helmet, all really good stuff. I also didn't want this scenario to happen. Matt and I talked about it last night. If they were to fight and Kenobi gets the upper hand, why on earth would he leave Vader to live? It's like he's been murdering people for years now as Lord Vader turned to the dark side. He murdered how many Jedis within the temple? Too many to count. You're just gonna kind of leave him for the second time to potentially go off and murder more people. Like there wouldn't be a lot of reasons to leave Vader alive, to spare his life. And then this episode, this finale, cements that by saying, "You're not my friend anymore." So there's like nothing remaining for Kenobi to kind of show him any mercy, even if he is a Jedi, which let's be honest, Jedi's are kind of few and far between. You know, there's not really a whole lot of things to live up to now that he's kind of one of the only ones left. And this guy is no longer your friend. He's been murdering hundreds of people for years. Tons of Jedi. Take him out. Why leave him? I didn't want this situation to come up because it's like, why make the same mistake twice? Any
Maybe
of you
because
guys feel that
Kenobi,
way?
I think Kenobi decided to
Yeah,
do something different. Maybe he still sensed that there was something still left in Vader that was some part of Anakin there, because he
Why he
saw it come out. He saw a little bit of it come out when he was talking with him, but of course he's jaded and he has all this anger built up, and he's just not the same person anymore. But how do we know that he doesn't already know or have a feeling or had a force vision or something that it's not his job to do that?
you
It's gonna
gotta
be
show
his.
us though.
Well,
This
you
is
have episodes. You have it. Maybe a season two might show that, but I'm just saying
yeah,
maybe Obi-Wan is leaving that up to his kids, Leia and Luke, to see if they can, make Vader, and of course we all know what happens, uh, come to the light again. So maybe that the balance that Obi-Wan was looking for, he surely knows it was an Anakin, but maybe he's putting that stock in the kids. And I think that's what we're gonna see if they have a season two, and you've already seen a little bit of him realizing how, I guess, impactful Luke and Leia are in the future of what's to come.
yeah. Any thoughts, Matt, on
yeah.
that?
And yeah, I agree with Ted a little bit because I mean, so in the scene, I don't know, I don't even know if we have the character's name yet. Maybe we do. Ice Cube's son. So they're on the ship, and then Kenobi's trying to get off there so he can distract um, Vader and the Star Destroyer from the escaping refugees. So he says a line to him directly, or no, he's like trying to talk to Master Qui Gon. He says, "Well, either he dies or I do." He says, "Either he dies or I do," and then he goes to the planet and then starts to whip his ass, and then
Not at
doesn't do
first, but yeah,
anything
yeah.
to kill him. But we know that that he can't, right? Because again, he's stuck to canon. That's why the story, we really don't need a season two. We don't need. There's nothing you can really do with the story because you're so locked in on what happens that there's only so much at stake for these characters because you know that they can't die. So there's no real stake. You have to write in new characters in order and make us care about them enough in such a short amount of time to try to even continue the story because the stakes are can only be but so high because certain and the main characters can't die. See, you know what I mean? So I think they handled it like the best way that they can, and you know, I don't know. I thought they did as good of a job as they could, and it's time to just set down the Obi-Wan Kenobi book and just leave it alone for a little while.
Yeah,
I
you see,
agree with that. They
that's the
did the
thing,
best
though,
they
man.
could.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think you all think it has more to do with them just sticking to canon. I think it's a little bit deeper than that. I think there's some things that maybe that we're not realizing. Like I was saying, that he knows, that he can't go ahead and just dispatch Vader, because if he does at this point, of course you're going to have to retcon everything that we already know. I get that, but I'm just saying, at the end, maybe he just understood that the children and Vader, and they're all going to play a different role and bring that balance back to the Force again. So he's putting that stock again, into the kids and not leaving it into his own hands. Because I think at this point he's already seen what um revenge does, and hatred and all that, looking at what Riva does, and looking at what Anakin's become, does is that how should I say, is that going to be something that is the Jedi way to go ahead and take a life of that nature, knowing what you know about Anakin and Leia and Luke, you know uh it's a family matter at this point. It's not just I'm gonna off my friend even though
Yeah.
he's killing all these people and whatnot. I think that maybe Obi-Wan noticed that his role in the whole thing is just to kind of watch over these kids.
I'm getting behind on the
Oh, for
comments here, so
sure. Yeah.
let me get caught up. So, Legacy Nerd, who's actually Daniel, says, "How about Beirut being a badass? Yes, absolutely, holding her own,
They weren't
giving it
just
to
farmers.
Reva. They were not." He also says, "Did anyone get a new girlfriend jealousy vibes from the Emperor? Like, why you still think about your ex?" Yeah, no, totally, absolutely, and it felt kind of weird. Also, I'm gonna call out that I we knew, or at least I knew, that we would see the Emperor in hologram form because Ian McDermott, who plays the Emperor at Star Wars Celebration, said, "quote unquote," I'm gonna get this slightly wrong, but he would not show up in the flesh on the Kenobi series, and everybody in the audience went, "Oh!" But I'm just like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa!" He said in the flesh. That means nothing about holograms. So of course we got him in a hologram form, and yeah, I called that. I said that was going to happen.
He was very
Uh,
specific about that at
too specific.
celebration too.
Too specific. You got to listen to his words carefully. Some of these guys, they're dropping more hints than we think they are. Daniel also says, "Well, the only thing I can think is that they can beat Vader, but he will be replaced. Obi-Wan knows he can beat Vader, but not the Empire, so leave him there. Vader is not the prize. It's Palpatine." I could see that. I could see that. And Nathaniel's in here. What's going on, man? Bros, that was an amazing finale. I completely agree. We all liked it. We all appreciated it. No arguments here. Paxton says, "What up, Pax? I feel like Ted was right. They needed to start the story different, and this could be of more of later episodes." Hey, you're not wrong about that. If they do decide to have a season two, you either got to get away from Vader because, again, we know how the story ends. You kind of have to get away from the Empire, save a new planet, save Jedi's on the run, kill the Inquisitors. How did all the Inquisitors survive this series? I have no idea. I expected all of them to go down, but no, they didn't. Nathaniel says it completely stuck to canon. Absolutely agree. It definitely did. It had to. There would have been hell to pay if they did not stick to canon. And Nathaniel says the second ending gave me tears, and I loved how it showed Obi-Wan could have beat Vader at any time. Ooh, that's an interesting concept right there. Isn't that a weird thought? The most badass villain, arguably in all of fiction, is beaten by Kenobi, pretty handily. And this is supposed to be
Uh,
Vader, like
He
at his
gets beat
prime.
a lot.
Yeah.
Vader gets beat a lot. If you actually go back, like even through like the Clone Wars, so he's been beaten by Obi-Wan once on Mustafar and Revenge of the Sith. He technically got
No,
beat by Ahsoka
Anakin.
because she
Anakin.
sliced his helmet open and then got away. Yeah. Well, I know. So like, but that was Vader because he had already killed all the younglings in Order 66. He had the Sith yellow eyes. That's Vader got beat there. He got beat. Ahsoka beat Vader too and got away. Right. That's technically beating him. If he can't kill you and you slice his helmet open and you get away, he got beat there. Ahsoka did that. Then he gets beat by Obi-Wan again. He gets beat by Luke. I mean, he's been beat like 4 or 5 times on screen.
He's like
So he's
0-5 in the
like
finals.
like he, yeah, like he's like the LeBron James. Like, is he a great basketball player? Yeah, but Steph Curry has way more. Like his record in finals is way better.
No, I
There you
think I
go.
think
NBA reference here.
Vader's Vader's weakness is showing that if he has some type of an emotional attachment to his foe, that's his
Yeah.
weakness there. Yeah, that's some leverage that you can hold over him and use it to kind of use it as a distraction to really get under his skin. And he kind of throws, away all his Sith training. And even though he's overpowered and he could easily overpower his foe, there's just something about that emotional attachment that he just can't get past. Like even with going against Obi-Wan, to me it always felt like he wanted to prove, even in this fight, he wanted to prove that I'm stronger, I can still overpower you. And Obi-Wan's like, much to learn you still have, because he's just using his rage to fuel him, and he's not looking at the bigger picture, and Obi-Wan's more of the calmer, level-headed guy, and able to, stay calm under pressure, and look for the advantages and the openings that Vader gives him in his fighting style, and then he finds it. It's
Yeah,
Anakin or Vader at this point who's making the mistakes, not Obi-Wan.
very true.
Hmm.
Very true.
Yeah,
Paxton
that's why I
says,
just don't think he's the chief badass of the universe. I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not.
Oh, I'm not gonna say those words out loud. Paxton says, I feel like this fight with Vader and Obi should have been more of a stalemate than Obi beating Vader and not killing him. Yes, and Nathaniel, I don't know if you joined after we talked about that. I was saying earlier that it feels it feels like Kenobi's making the same mistake twice. He's letting this individual who now clearly is not his friend or his brother by any means, not literally, just in the Jedi, leaving him to not only become even stronger, but also we know all the damage he does in the original trilogy. And so you're kind of leaving him alone. You're leaving him alone, and he's going to go off and murder tens of thousands, if not millions, of more people. And he's already killed hundreds, or if not thousands, of people, including probably most of the people in the Jedi Temple, including younglings. He doesn't deserve to live. Kill the guy. He's clearly beaten, put him out of his misery. It feels like it's a weird thing to see Kenobi make the same mistake twice. I don't feel like there's anything holding him back at this point. You He looked like your brother in episode 3, and you thought he was dying at that point. Like, this shouldn't be a hard decision to make. It should be an easy choice. Kill the man. But it's cool. It's totally fine because we know how the canon goes forward, and so it must be this way. This allows for a Cal Kestis show, which is rumored. I'm down. I'm down, and if not, he can make a cameo in anything, and I'd be down for that. That would be awesome because I'm a huge Cameron Monaghan fan. He's from Shameless on Showtime, and I'd be totally down for him to see that, for him to play that role. Legacy of Nerd says, I think it makes episode 4 more interesting how he stood down. Feels like a Doctor Strange Infinity War. He saw all the possibilities and it had to happen that way. Interesting take. Interesting. I haven't thought about it that way. And Paxton says, they should have looked like Vader was more injured to make Obi leave. Yeah, he didn't really look like he was, you know, taking his last breath or anything, right? He was down but not out for the count. So Kenobi fleeing really just makes it look like, oh, he's gonna be fine. At least take his ship out. I don't know. That's what I would have done. When you leave like a villain in the movies, they always sort of like shoot out the tire so he can't follow you or go anywhere. Leave Vader stranded on the planet, something, take away his comms. I have no idea, but it does, to me, not, it's not a deal breaker by any means whatsoever. It's just, why make the same mistake twice? Paxton says, yeah, something. Paxton agrees. You gentlemen mind if I take a moment to thank our sponsor today?
Our sponsor.
Sure.
Our sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you joining us and for those of you listening later on, I'm putting a link in the chat, and you will be happy to know. Oh, hang on. You will be happy to know that the Countdown to the Geekcast is officially launching after a long time of waiting and redesigning and editing and whatnot. We're officially launching our merch store, and this is, sort of in its infancy stage. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen now, but the Geekcast merch store is now available, and we started out by dropping half a dozen shirt styles, everything from your favorite movie franchises to just some good old fashioned Geekcast logo stuff. But go ahead, click on the shirts. You'll find different sizes, different colors. If you have any ideas about what you'd want to see on a T-shirt, let us know. We'd be happy to throw some ideas out there, and also get back to us. Send us a message on which items you purchased. How you enjoy them. I'm going to be getting some for my kids. My daughter's turning 3 on Friday, so she's got to get some Geekcast gear that she can rock to the daycare and whatnot. So I'm very excited. Thanks to Matt, also Jericho, who've been helping out with the designs. And yeah, if you have any questions, send us any questions you might have. Again, any suggestions, please let us know. But for that link, head on over to the chat. It's the pinned message. And yeah, super exciting. I'm so happy. Lots more to come, including stickers, mugs, anything else you guys can think of. But that is the Countdown to the Geeks merch store, now available on Redbubble. So yeah, um, the link will also be on our link tree. You can get to our link tree on Facebook as well as YouTube. If you want to find the link again, you can find it on Linktree. Thank you to our sponsor of
I
this episode,
yeah.
the Geekcast merch store.
I am going to get. I'm going to get the Hulkamania Geekcast shirt and get a picture with Hulk Hogan
There
at
you go.
the celebrity event show. He'll love it. I'm telling you.
And
Man,
then he can sign it, and then you can frame it.
I was gonna say he's
Ah,
getting up there
Yeah.
in age, dude. I don't
How
know if
great!
he's gonna be able to rip the shirt anymore.
those are always
Well,
pre-cut.
well,
You know how they
my
do it.
thought was my thought was actually because he's going to be there at the car show, the superhero car show.
Yeah.
So I was going to bring two. I was going to order two, and bring one for the picture, and then one to wear around the event. So the one in the picture, I'm going to have it torn a little bit. I'm going to rip that motherfucker off in the middle of the picture.
Nice.
I'm gonna tear that motherfucker off. And I wish that hopefully they have cans of beer. And so, but no, that's still cold. But I definitely would want to chuck a beer with old Terry.
That would be awesome. Definitely do that. Yeah, I'm also listen. I'm gonna repaste the link just so that we can get it a second time in the chat, so it shows up. There you go. Um,
Do you like any of
awesome.
them, Joe?
I like the one that's just a traditional logo. That's the one we usually were rocking, and I think the other one that was cool was the one that looks like Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that one's totally
Yeah, I
dope.
like the,
But I'm kind of disappointed, Ted. I mean, with you being a big Ghostbusters aficionado, I mean, why
Just
are we
wait.
getting something, geared towards that?
Just wait, just wait. It's gotta be right. And Paxton's in the chat saying free balloons with the mug for the kids. Good, great Ghostbusters reference there. But
yeah.
yeah, no, there's plenty more ideas in the making. A few more days, maybe by the end of the weekend, we're gonna have more designs available, as well as accessories, stickers,
I want one that has
office.
Jericho's likeness as Muncher that says Geekcast.
Ooh,
The-
do you remember when we did the show where Robert was on the phone? He couldn't be in the studio with us, so I had him as a little like avatar popping up with Pikachu. I'm gonna put that on a shirt, and Robert's gonna love it, aren't you, Rob? Wherever you're at,
He's probably
I'll
gonna
tell him.
hate it.
I'll tell him about it when I see him this weekend. But yeah, I'll totally do that. Cool. Back to Kenobi. Some things that we knew were going to happen. We called Qui-Gon, showing up by the finale. They saved it for the very, very end. Definitely moving. He looks fantastic. Let's see what else. What else? Was there anything you guys didn't really like about this finale, Joe? Anything? I know we loved it. We appreciated it. The fights were great. All the little Easter eggs were fantastic. I kind of feel that's also why you don't do a second season, because you kind of threw everything we needed in this finale episode. But is there anything you didn't really like in this finale,
Okay,
Joe?
well, I'll tell you one thing. Y'all are giving Vader a lot of flack. You're getting Obi-Wan flack for not offing Vader. Why are you not giving him that same flack for not offing Reva? Reva actually was killing and hunting Jedi. Then she goes on this, hell-bent revenge bit. She's doing it all for revenge because they killed all the younglings and she survived. Then she goes after Luke and almost kills the kid. Then she decides, no, I can't do it after all. I'm going to bring him back. Why would you let somebody like that live? And everybody's okay with it. I'm just like, bro, let's get real here, man. You're trying to kill kids off and stuff, that have nothing to do with you whatsoever. This individual does not deserve to be alive after she even got lanced by none other than Darth Vader. And then she could still see that she's like huffing and puffing and she's not 100% like do this character a favor and just I thought the Tusken Raiders were just going to be able to dispatch her, man, but no, she didn't get that Tatooine justice, So I don't know, man. To me, she's just a broken character at this point. Doesn't deserve to keep on living. Just put her out of her misery already. I'm surprised you guys haven't said anything about that.
No, we have. We kind of said it in the last episode. Like, Reva was stabbed again. This is like the second time she's been stabbed. She had the flashbacks of her being stabbed as a youngling. So it's like, it's stretching the audience's disbelief to a point, to its threshold, when you're stabbing this person with a lightsaber multiple times and they're able to come away from it, and the only explanation given by the Grand Inquisitor is, hey, if you're really mad, you'll survive this, just like I did. It's like, come on. That's just like in the sequel trilogy when they're like, how is Palpatine back? You know what, it could be clones. Mm. It's a lazy answer, and again, not a deal breaker, but I would have preferred a different arc for Reva. If she dies trying to kill Vader, so be it, and then that's how that goes. It does help that Uncle Owen is part of the finale. We get to see him doing something because he's a fantastic actor. His name slips my mind right now, but it was good getting him involved. And didn't need to see Luke in this finale because we saw him in the very beginning of the series. But it was nice. It was kind of a cherry on top. I think it was fine. Nathaniel
Yeah,
says they need Reva for the Fallen Order spinoff set around the same time. It's interesting.
yeah. Obi-Wan just said, "Oh, you're free now. You could do what you want." Like, bro, come on, man.
Yeah, and how many people she murdered, killed? No, there's no justice
The
for all in this
the
galaxy.
legacy of nerd addresses that here. The legacy of
Like,
nerd in the comments here addresses that same concern.
he says, I'm pretty sure Obi-Wan wouldn't kill Vader. He would go to the dark side if he did. Ooh, also can't kill Reva because of her remorse. A Jedi don't murder. Also, he can't just arrest her anymore.
Yeah, but
So
Reva's not
everybody,
even a
They would
Jedi
have
at
to
this
stand
point.
trial. They would have to stand trial. Yeah,
yeah.
but
This is the
it's just
Wild
kind of
Wild
the
West,
way that
though.
it goes. Yeah,
He,
but
he
I mean, at
kills
the same
Grievous. Does
time,
that not matter?
yeah. I mean, no. Well, Grievous was barely, but he had
Barely
orders.
human.
So Grievous was a wanted person. Grievous was wanted dead or alive.
Gotcha.
Like, but that was established by the politics of the time. You know what I'm saying? So Obi-Wan is I don't think he just wants to kill people. He probably doesn't want to. So he's probably just like, okay, I just defeated Vader. I can defeat her if I need to. He's actually just crowned himself as chief badass of the universe for this particular moment, and so he's probably just not that worried about it. He's like, if you fuck up, I'll come back and get you, and just do right. Showing the mercy is actually probably the way to go there. I My thing with Riva, I didn't mind her character that much. Actually, I thought she could have been more creative because we didn't have Tara. Like Tara could have just been Riva's role. Like they could have just played the same role. So instead of having Tara in the show at all, you just have Riva kind of play that role where she seems kind of tough in the beginning, and then it becomes clear that she's more and more involved with helping them get out. It would be easier from her position as an Inquisitor to do so. Um, and so if they would have just given her that role, it wouldn't have seemed so extra, I don't think. But
Yeah.
I just and they're gonna need her for sure because they killed the second sister in the last Fallen Order. So in the third Fallen Order, the third sister will probably be, or the second Fallen Order, the third sister will probably be one of the main antagonists potentially, or it could be a helper. She could be helping Cal Kestis along that journey as well. So I think they definitely left her there for a reason. You don't invest that much writing to kill her at the end.
You're probably right. You're probably right. I I'm not against, her having to absolutely be killed, but it's the arc is shaky for me. Or not the arc, the motivations. I talked about it earlier. The motivations are shaky. Taking revenge out on Vader for by killing a son he doesn't know of, like that was, it's a little shaky. It doesn't have a solid foundation for me. Nathaniel's in the chat says, "Love you guys. See you next time. I'm in town. Time to watch Miss Marvel, which is currently a tie with look for me. Miss Marvel's fantastic. If anybody is not watching it, please watch it. I told the guys in our first episode review, it feels a lot like Mitchell versus the Machines, which was an animated movie on Netflix, and it just has that sort of that style and tone to it, which is extremely entertaining. So check that out. Cool, gentlemen. Final thoughts on the Kenobi series. This whole season as a whole, did it sort of meet your expectations, surpass your expectations? Do you want to see a season two? Joe, we'll start with you, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a season two. Like I said, we didn't really get a lot of Luke. It was more about Leia. So if they do a season two, I'd like to see a little bit more about the lore of what's happening between when Obi-Wan decides to go further into the desert, maybe his teachings with Qui-Gon, maybe some adventures off-world, and still coming back to kind of check on Luke here and there and see some progression of Luke. I mean, we didn't really see enough of that, so I'd like to see a little bit more of that story arc.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Maddie B, same question, sir. This series as a whole, did it meet your expectations, surpass your expectations? Do you want to see a season two of Kenobi?
Do I want to see a season 2 of Kenobi? No. Would I watch it? Yes. Um,
Good answer.
and
Good answer.
this
You're
this
damn right you'd watch
this
it.
series, yeah, I would certainly watch it. But no, I thought the series was good. Everything I wanted to see in there was in there. It just took a lot longer to get there than I wanted to. It's like we just took a wrong turn somewhere, and it took us longer to get to the destination. But at the end, I got everything I wanted. But again, I'm in agreement with Joe there. A movie, I think we could have wrapped this up a lot quicker.
What would have been interesting to me? What if they would have done a movie to start the series and then have a couple of episodes as the series as well to kind of tie up maybe some of the loose ends that the movie didn't, give you another maybe 4 episodes or something to kind of tie things up? I think that would have been pretty cool. I wish Disney would do something more of that nature. If they do anything that's involving any of these legacy characters, that would be cool to kind of have a short movie, even if it's an hour and a half. It doesn't have to be 2 hours. It could be like 90 minutes or so, just to start that, and then have the series follow. I think
Yeah,
that would be pretty cool.
I could see
I
that.
think
I
they're
could
heading in
see
that
that.
direction too with the way they released this. because remember we got basically almost a mini movie week one, and
Yeah.
then we were filling in, and it wasn't quite what you're talking about because we want a full kind of story and then ancillary episodes at the end to fill it in. I
Yeah.
don't know why they haven't been doing that for years with multiple franchises.
Yeah.
I'm I'm gonna actually piggyback off Matt's answer. I really enjoyed this season. Ewan McGregor as Kenobi. Listen, I wasn't alive when the original trilogy came out, and so when the prequel trilogy came out, it was fantastic. I was
I
actually,
don't
what's that?
know. I said I don't think any of us were alive when the original, the A New Hope premiered.
I'm just saying there's a lot of people that were. I have uncles that watched it in theaters 2 dozen times when it came out. The original A New Hope, or just Star Wars is what it was called back then. So yeah, no, there's people that watched it in theaters when it first came out. I'm just saying the prequel trilogy was what I grew up with. I was working at a theater when it was in theaters, and so it was like the first major event that I got to sort of be a part of and be a fan of. So seeing Ewan McGregor as Kenobi again was everything I wanted it to be. I liked his arc. I liked seeing him sort of as a lost, troubled soul with no hope. Um, Very much sort of like Ben Affleck as Batman in BBS. You start off one way, and the arc is to sort of find that light again, find that motivation by the end of the story. I appreciate the arc. It was a little flimsy, but I like how they got there. Young Leia, fantastic actress, well written. I really appreciated that. Seeing Vader being a badass, being the villain that we all know him to be, love that. Wouldn't change any of that for anything else. Do I want to see a season two? Only if they can get away from the Empire. Only if they decide, you know what, it was too much of a challenge to kind of stick to canon. Let's take Kenobi off on an adventure. Maybe Qui Gon needs him because there's something more dangerous than Vader, something more dangerous than Palpatine that needs to be stopped. If you go back to the Knights of the Old Republic series, there was always these talks about there's Jedi, there's Sith, and then there's the original Sith. There's like the badasses of the badasses. Those guys, and they did the MMO game where I never got to play it, but they continued the story there. But just take Kenobi on an adventure we don't expect, that we don't see coming, that we don't know exactly how it's going to turn out, and feel free to kind of explore a new area of the galaxy or Star Wars that we've not visited yet. I think that would be really interesting to do. But if they don't do season two, I will be absolutely happy with what we got in this series. Legacy of Nerd says, I worked the second two at AMC. Yes, you were there as well, my friend. I remember that very well. Cool. Thanks everybody for joining us on this Kenobi season or series finale discussion. Thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe. Share this video if you would, please. And then don't forget, I've already put the link as a pinned message, but take a look at the Countdown City Geeks merch store. We are launching it today. There are 6 t-shirt styles you can find right now. If you click on the photos, there's actually different options. It's a great deal where you get to choose from different actual either materials or different categories of shirts, sweaters, long sleeve shirts, hoodies, pullovers, or whatnot. So take a look around. Let us know if you have any questions. And if you do decide to buy something, we really appreciate it. And we hope that you enjoy it very much. So, for the Countdown to Geekcast, my name is Steady. Joining me on the Obi-Wan Kenobi series finale discussion is the man behind the magic. You know him as Joe Garcia.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed our discussion. And if you feel that this Geekcast does have any merit, make sure you like and subscribe and spread the word. Greatly appreciate all your support.
Absolutely. And last but not least, my partner in crime from the Ghostbusters of San Antonio, Texas, the one and only Matty B.
Another can down, boys. Let's go.
Absolutely. Have a good night, folks. May the force be with you.